Thanks, Joel. On behalf of BDO NI, we recently prepared our Prosperity Dividend report, which, along with about 200 business leaders across hospitality, manufacturing, and retail, we presented a report over in London in Westminster in May, and then more recently in Dublin to the Toniston Taoiseach, which was really well received, actually. And then we're planning to extend the discussion by several regional roadshows across the country, which we'll be promoting very soon and accessing more and more of your members. But essentially, the purpose of the report was to build on the momentum already generated by industry leaders and driving Northern Ireland forward and focusing on the strengths of our country and its attraction locally, nationally, and globally. I suppose our goal was to document and demonstrate how far Northern Ireland has come in the last 25 years and the growth that has resulted in. It's quite amazing when you put it all down on paper, just how far we actually have come as a country. When we look back and see the number of milestone events that have taken place, the likes of the MTV Music Awards, to the Giro, to the Open Golf in 2019, which was so good that it's actually returning in 2025. It's definitely positive affirmation of the success that we've had in Northern Ireland and attracting and putting on these high-profile events. And I suppose going back 25 years, if you thought these events would happen, you'd probably been dreaming. But within our report, we also set out the city landscape across the country with notable key developments, including the Odyssey opening in 2000, offering great leisure facilities, and your neck of the woods, the Belfast ice hockey team Giants, Victoria Square opening in 2008, offering premium retail shops and brands, and of course Titanic opening in 2012, which was voted the world's best visitor attraction in 2016. So on the back of all these events and developments, undoubtedly it's been the hospitality sector in Northern Ireland that's captured the most over the last 25 years and capitalised the most, with the number of overseas visitors having more than doubled from 1.3 million to 3 million through the enhancement of air routes and I suppose the exponential rise in cruise ships coming to Belfast, which is great to see. But the tourism is still only 5.2% of GDP. There's still the potential and opportunity to double that figure, and that's what we're trying to achieve, and to over 10% of GDP in the years to come. And I think certainly, you see it, I see it. Everyone who comes to Northern Ireland has a brilliant time. We just need to get them here, Joel, and I believe they'll definitely keep coming back if we do.
Well, you're right. We can see where we've come from, and the report definitely shines a light on that. Moving it into the present day, what are your views on the current landscape in the hospitality sector now?
Yeah, for each of the last 3 years, unfortunately, we've been going from one crisis event to another.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating for your members and for many owners out there. And I keep thinking we're going to get a positive year where there's no significant economic or political issues that are beyond operators' control. But I do remain hopeful in that regard, and hopefully there will be. That time will come. But as you know, the hospitality sector itself is nothing but resilient, and the skill sets of so many operators have been enhanced, I think, from dealing with these issues, supply chain issues, labor shortages. We've heard them day in, day out from clients, and price inflation now, which is merely just part of their day job. But on the back of this, it's really positive to see a lot of businesses and a lot of clients in the sector that have been able to right-size their operations, innovate, add fresh concepts to their business models, and allowing them to capture an increased share of the market. And as a result, they're sitting in a much stronger position, have a foundation in which to capitalize on the years ahead. But there is, however, a significant number of businesses who avail of various government support, CBILS, furlough, obviously over the last 3 years, and unfortunately, these schemes are very much running out and coming to an end. So there's unlikely to be any further significant government support that we can see. So obviously, the high-level agenda for so many owners will be split between trading priorities, the immediate concerns, cash flows, driving revenue to protect cost increases, and then the medium-term financing options as debt financing costs increase substantially, as we've seen in the markets over the recent months. And then obviously combined with trying to preempt consumer behavior and demand, which is obviously so important in the hospitality sector. But in terms of strategic advice, personally, I would say don't rely on things just to happen. don't put your head in the sand plan. There'll definitely be more crisis events, and businesses just need to be prepared to deal with them as they've done to date. So it's trying to think outside the box a little bit, and those with solid business foundations should be able to weather most storms going forward.
Yeah, where we've come from, where we are, and I suppose then where do you see the road ahead? What are the changes that are needed in the near and medium future to improve the hospitality landscape?
Yeah, I suppose jumping back to our report, certainly the first 15 to 20 pages are very positive, and the positive growth that we've seen in Northern Ireland over the last 25 years. But obviously, there's still a lot of challenges to overcome. And we've identified, I guess, a roadmap, for want of a better term, a reimagined program for prosperity that we call it in the report for the hospitality sector specifically. So we do recognise the great work that's already been done by the likes of Hospitality Ulster and other trade bodies in developing and putting in place new initiatives and reforms. But we believe that there are probably 4 key areas for the sector that we should be focusing on over the next sort of short-term period. I guess, with Brexit, it's caused a bit of turmoil in terms of the employment side of things, and certainly your members are seeing that day in, day out. But I think if we can create some form of new immigration pathway to facilitate the introduction of new people and skills to Northern Ireland marketplace, I think that will really help with the ongoing staffing issues. That really is one of the main issues for your members. On the back of that, there's potentially a route to establish, public sector conversion academies. I know Colin's talked about startup schemes and so forth, but I think those can potentially be improved to facilitate the transfer of personnel from perhaps the public sector into the private sector, especially as public sector budgets, as we know, are being cut and are stretched. Thirdly, I suppose we can focus really on prioritising funding support to enhance air connectivity. The abolishment of air passenger duty, I know it's been a bugbear for the tourism sector for many years, just to really make the region even more accessible for both commerce and tourism, and really be competing more on a level playing field with our neighbours in Dublin. The final area really that we want to sort of focus on again is another issue that's been about for many years, is the rating system, and overhauling the existing system to make it a lot more fair for businesses trading in town centres and cities. I think local agencies need to be able to compete with other destinations in selling Northern Ireland as a place to visit and do business, and I think this would really help in that regard. So overall, personally, I believe that Northern Ireland is really well placed, Joel, to capitalise on the opportunities ahead. We've got great foundations in place to do that. We've got a really thriving hospitality sector, and one which really people enjoy coming and seeing. And we see how well our neighbours in the south have done over the last 10 to 15 years in terms of growth. I don't think there's any reason that we cannot do the same or even better going forward.